10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the John DeVito Show. Tonight, we've got an awesome show ahead. We're going to be interviewing Ronnie Hoxie, who is the CEO of Flirt Magazine and also manages this kick-ass rock band called Voodoo Moonshine. You can find their songs on iTunes, so make sure you check them out. We'll be back with the interview very soon, so kick back and relax and enjoy Voodoo Moonshine. All right, if you're just coming in, this is Voodoo Moonshine. We're going to be interviewing Ronnie Hoxie very shortly. He's the manager of Voodoo Moonshine and also the CEO and owner of Flirt Magazine. So sit back and chill. This should be a good show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the John DeVito Show. It is Saturday night at 6 o'clock, and that song absolutely kicks ass. Oh, my God. That's Voodoo Moonshine. Great band that, I wasn't that familiar with, but I've been on iTunes all afternoon, just listening to their songs and downloading some of their music. So just absolutely fantastic music. And I'm kind of excited today that we're going to have the CEO of Flirt Magazine, which is a magazine that combines beautiful women with rock and roll. And Ronnie, the guy that owns the company, is going to be joining us in a few minutes. And he's based in Rhode Island, which isn't too far away from, where I am. So I live here in Massachusetts. I actually went to the University of Rhode Island. And I'm kind of wondering, where was Ronnie when I was 22 years old and single? He's got this unbelievable business where he's combined rock and roll with beautiful women and seems to be living the dream. So I'm pretty impressed by everything I've seen so far. And I'm starting to wonder, my high school guidance counselor kind of screwed me because I didn't get any guidance to, go down these roads of just getting into rock and roll, a magazine that shows off beautiful women. I mean, just a kind of a nice way to make a living, I'm guessing. So Eric, how are you tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good this Saturday evening. Yourself, John?
Doing very well. Just had kind of a busy day and kind of excited to be doing back-to-back shows tonight. We're going to be doing this show here with Ronnie when he calls in and interviewing him about some of the things he has going on. And then, of course, later tonight, I've got another show at 7:20 where we're going to have Amanda on from Circle of Hope and, talking about some of that stuff that has been going on in that whole situation. So, this is something as you know, I'm a big rock fan. I love rock and roll music. I'm a big AC/DC fan. I've seen them, a number of times in concert. I've seen, Metallica, a lot of the good rock bands. And I always love to discover a band that I did not know or was not aware of. And this band, Voodoo Magic, I mean, that first song that I played has been around since 2007, Voodoo Moonshine, excuse me. They've been around since 2007. So they've been, a band that's been in the mix for quite some time. And that song there I really liked. And they get another one that I'm going to play, a little bit later as well. So now, Eric, are you a big rock guy? I'm just kind of figuring if you like rock or you kind of like all different types of music, right?
Most different types, yes. Especially music that is like, easy to listen to, and of course, definitely not anything with vulgar, degrading, explicit lyrics.
Right. That's one of the things about a lot of the songs today. You hear a lot of music that's out right now, and there's a lot of songs that really are kind of that way, where there's a lot of just, disgusting lyrics and things like that. And that's, one of the things about this music rocks, it kicks ass, but it's also not like some of the stuff you hear today that they put out that just, isn't meant for the family, I guess, or whatever, So, Ronnie's a pretty impressive guy. I was looking at his resume on LinkedIn. Yeah. That's how he reached out to me. And Ronnie is a guy that it looks like he went to the Rhode Island School of Design for a little while. And I'm interested in asking him about that. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar, Eric, with the Rhode Island School of Design, but it's a very impressive school where very creative and talented people end up going, kind of like FIT in New York City. And, it's not an easy school to get into. So it seems like he's got certainly a creative flair to him. And it's going to be kind of fun to hear, a little bit more about that when we get him in the show. So what are you doing this weekend, Eric, while we're waiting? Are you just kind of chilling out this weekend, doing a lot of shows, or just relaxing a little bit?
Mostly just spend the weekend chilling as usual. Did my Saturday free think meeting like about 3 hours ago. Of course, I know you have this show and then the next show coming around 7:15, 7:20 p.m. Eastern. Welcome to those who are entering our live chat right now.
Yeah, for the people coming in, we've got 2 shows coming up. We're waiting right now on Ronnie Hoxie. He's the CEO of Flirt Magazine, and this should be a fun show. And I get a chance to kind of look up Flirt Magazine a little bit. I mean, really, it's kind of like a modern day, Playboy, Penthouse, whatever. And it's got a combination of beautiful women and rock and roll. And honestly, there are no 2 better things in the world. If he could find a way just to intertwine baseball into all of that, then I think I would, that would be the end. That's all I would need. Rock and roll, beautiful women, and baseball. I think I'd be good. So we got to find a way to get baseball involved. But we're looking forward to that interview. That should be fun. And then after that tonight, we've got another interview where we're going to have in a second show, we're going to have Amanda coming in from the Circle of Hope. And this is a little bit more serious show where we're going to be talking about, her parents being arrested, being charged with 102 counts of crimes that were perpetrated at the Circle of Hope girls ranch out in Missouri. So we're going to do that a little bit later. So we're just kind of waiting for Ronnie right now. And we'll just sit back, chill a little bit and talk and just kind of get prepared for him coming in. So, Eric, so it sounds like you've had a pretty good weekend so far. I mean, for me today, it was, typical busy day, running around, doing my thing. And it was busy, but I always look forward to the weekends. It's nice to kind of, take a break a little bit from the crazy weeks that we all have and all that stuff. Now, do you think, have you seen any difference? Do you think that things are starting to get back to normal at all right now in society? I mean, I see kind of a change, but I'm not sure if we're getting through this whole pandemic thing or not yet. What do you think?
I'm thinking probably 50-50 because when I was on that that free think Zoom call earlier, one of our friends on there alluded to, like, in our discussions of like the 2022 midterms, like don't be surprised if they cook up another pandemic to try to rig that election.
I hope not, man. I can't take another pandemic. And, I was thinking about it today. I mean, after everything we've been through, I think it's going to take, even when the government finally tells us it's okay to take the masks off, it's you can get back to normal. I think it's going to take a good long time before people can actually get back to normal and actually, be, I guess, like they were before this whole thing happened, because we've been so just indoctrinated with all the stuff that you have to wear the masks no matter where you go. I mean, I think this is going to go on for quite some time, even without another pandemic. And I certainly hope we don't have another one. I honestly don't think our kids can stand that. I don't think adults can either. It's really beating a lot of people down,
because if God forbid they were to wind up cooking another pandemic, you could bet that they would be like there would be a revolt.
Right. No, you're right. Absolutely. So, I mean, hopefully that is not the case. While we're waiting for Ronnie, I don't see him coming in quite yet. I did send him a text, and he could just be running a few minutes behind, so that's okay. What I might do is I might actually play another one of their songs. Now, Ronnie, the guy that's coming in that we're going to interview today, not only is he the CEO of Flirt Magazine, but he is also the band manager for a rock band called Voodoo Moonshine, and they're a really good band. And I might play another one of their songs while we're waiting for him to come in. So this is Voodoo Moonshine. This is one of the new releases from 2019. I got the approval that we can actually play. So let me hit this up, get it going, and we'll just kind of wait for Ronnie to come in. So this is Give It Up to Me by Voodoo Moonshine. This is the band that Ronnie manages. So here we go. These guys rock, man. If you like rock music.
Give up, good luck, you're confused and I can see it in your bloodshot eyes. Yeah, you give me more. Whoa. Give it to me one time, baby. Give it to me 2 times, honey. Give it to me all night long, yeah. I'm gonna give it to you, yeah. Slowly, yeah, you work yourself inside my mind. You're interest, you'll still confess, but I love to know and give you the time. Leaving, take back all the words that you told to me. All alone in a world that is passing you by. There's some things that you'll never see. You still give me more, yeah, yeah. Give it to me one time, baby. Give it to me 2 times, honey. Give it to me all night long, yeah. I'm gonna give it to
you. Yeah, you guys are listening to Voodoo Moonshine. We're just kind of jamming out, waiting for Ronnie to get in so we can interview him. This band absolutely kicks ass, so hopefully you guys are enjoying them.
I'm gonna give it.
Hey, everybody. All right, this is John DeVito. And that, again, was Voodoo Moonshine. Ronnie Hoxie, who is the CEO of Flirt Magazine, also manages this band. So I figured I'd play a couple of their songs. That was the second one I've played. And we'll just sit back waiting for Ronnie to join us. Things come up, man. I'm sure he is kind of, making things happen in the magazine business. Hey, I see Cummings' Culture here and Culture Cast is here. So welcome to everybody coming in. And Eric and I are just chilling out, just kind of hanging. I got 2 shows coming up tonight. This is the first. And I'll tell you, the one that I'm really excited about, Eric, I mean, you saw the text I put out. Now, this is going to be a show that I don't know when it's going to be yet, but I'm pretty excited that I booked this interview, or at least I got an agreement for Caroline to do it. But for anybody that watched It's a Wonderful Life, I mean, my opinion, the best Christmas movie that's ever been made, in history. Just an amazing movie with Jimmy Stewart. You had Donna Reed as the wife. I mean, just a great, great, great movie. My favorite. I don't miss it. I watch it every year. So, I mean, again, this film, was filmed back in the 1940s. So there aren't too many of the stars, still alive. But I actually reached out to Zuzu. She was the little girl that was Jimmy Stewart's daughter in the movie. And she was the one he was holding up by the Christmas tree, basically, saying, every teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. So I reached out to her. I found her, and she sells, Christmas ornaments. She sells books and things like that. So I reached out and said, hey, listen, I'm a huge fan of the movie, and I actually have one of her signed bells on our Christmas tree that I put up every year. So I wrote her and asked her, would you like to be on a show? I would love to have you on. She wrote back saying, absolutely. So we're actually going to have Zuzu from It's a Wonderful Life on our show. She's now 80 years old. So, I mean, again, she was in that movie as a young girl. I'm not sure, what she's going to remember about being in the movie, but just imagine hearing some of the stories about what it was like to be on set with Jimmy Stewart, or, was Mr. Potter really a mean man, or was he nice, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm super
but what people may not know about like Mr. Potter, the actor who played him, Lionel Barrymore, that's Drew Barrymore's granduncle.
Because I saw the name Lionel Barrymore.
Ethel was the grand aunt, and John Barrymore was Drew Barrymore's grandfather. That they were vaudeville legends.
Yeah, he was amazing. I mean, that was such a great movie. And I remember, and I see Cummings, I see your comment down there about you backed out on Roadcaster. Hey man, you got to do what's right for you. And if you find something you think is going to be a little bit better for your show, less money, that's all good, man. So I don't blame you on that one. So hey, Cummings, if you want to call in, we're kind of waiting on our guest still, so we're just chilling and waiting for Ronnie. I did text him a couple of times earlier in the day. He was good to come on, but you never know. Things come up sometimes. So we'll go a little bit longer, see if he joins us. And if not, we'll just move forward and do the other show that I have coming on at 7:20 tonight. But things are going good here, Eric. I mean, we're keeping busy. The boys are in baseball. We're doing all that stuff right now, driving them all over the place, and just kind of keeping busy. And we're happy that here in the Northeast, the weather's getting a little bit better. Today was kind of cold again, but we had some nice 60, 70-degree days this week, and that felt pretty good. So, Cummings, what's up, man? Glad you're joining us. What's going on?
Hell, nothing.
Same here, brother. Same here.
But no, brother, that thing I was looking at, that Zoom P8, it literally does everything. And
does it really?
Yeah, it's got 6. You know how the Rode only has 4 inputs?
Right.
It's got 6.
Well, that's pretty good. You say it's less money, also, right?
Yeah, it's $100 less. The only thing that it does 44 kilohertz, where the Rode does 48.
Right.
But they can fix that in a patch. But
nice. Oh, look who entered. The King of Podbean. Now, who's the King of Podbean? I'm just curious.
That's Homeboy 88.
Homeboy 88 with the new name, the King of Podbean. I knew he'd show up for this show. Now we just got to get Ronnie in. I'm going to text him again. I'm sure something came up. We were supposed to do a show last week, and I had something come up, and we couldn't do it. So I'm hoping that he's okay and everything is all right with him. But we're waiting. We're going to give Ronnie a chance to get in here because I really like to interview him. I mean, again, why wouldn't I like to interview a man that has found a way to weave in beautiful women with rock and roll music? I mean, he's living the dream. As I said earlier, my high school guidance counselor told me to go to college, told me to get a regular job. My high school guidance counselor should have been encouraging me to start, a magazine like Flirt Magazine, get involved with rock and roll music. And I would have needed to find a way, like I said, to entwine baseball into that. And I would have been living the dream. That's all I would have needed, right? So this guy's lived a really good life. He's got a lot of things going on. Looks like he's a relatively young guy still. And I hadn't been familiar. Oh, looks like we got Homeboy calling in. So we're going to have a full panel no matter what happens tonight. So let's get the Homeboy in. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Yes, hello, everybody. It is I, the King of Podbean here. And hello, Cummings. Hello, Eric. Hello, John DeVito.
Now, wait. Now, you said you're the King of Podbean. Do I have to kiss your ring? Or kiss anything?
No. It's a joke, but guess what? What? I did it to combat the idiot trolls because they're getting so mad that I'm calling myself the King of Podbean. It's beautiful.
I love it.
It's beautiful. And they're getting so worked up about it. So If you see me in other shows as the king of Podbean, don't. I'm not an asshole or being arrogant. It's just meant to piss people off.
Hey, man, as far as I'm concerned, you are the king of Podbean. So that name
No,
is
I'm
righteous.
not, though.
It's right on the mark, man.
I'm not. But
I don't know. I think you
so
are.
I'm
What do
li-
you guys think?
I'm
I think
li-
he's the king.
No. If anybody's the king, it might be Eric.
Yeah, that's a good point. Eric is like the grand master. I don't know what he is.
Jesus
But he
Christ.
deserves,
No,
Eric
the
should be making a
Podfather.
lot
He's
of
the
money.
Podfather, right?
What's that?
He's the Podfather.
The Podfather. I
Yeah.
like that. Oh, man.
Well, I'm really good at recommending good Podbean shows to people and being like a unifying force. And another friend showed up.
I see Glenn coming in. Glenn is coming in, I'm sure, for the CEO of Flirt Magazine. We're still waiting on Ronnie. Let me check my messages to see where's
Jesus
the
Christ.
I like that. We're waiting on him, man. Well, we know one thing.
John,
he's not premature.
I got to drop out because I'm still working, but I just wanted to clarify that out because I didn't want to look like an asshole.
Oh, it looks like, okay, here we go. I've been searching for your show for like 15 minutes and there is nothing he's saying.
Have a great show, bro.
All right. Hey, why don't you guys talk a little bit? I'm going to try to talk with you. Jeremy, take over for me and talk for a little bit. I'm going to see if I can get him in here, all right?
Yeah.
All right.
So, this is the reason that LA is better than Boston because we're the champions of baseball. We're the champions of basketball. What does Boston have? You know what I'm saying? They didn't even have a football champion this year. You know what I'm saying? And, God, no, I'm just kidding.
Good Lord,
Yeah.
man. Good Lord.
He's getting all pissed off. He's trying to get the guy, but he wants to
Chris.
come back and combat what I'm saying.
I just brought him. He's struggling to get in. I feel bad. He looks like he's frustrated. I've been searching for your show for 15 minutes and there is nothing. He probably went in a little bit too early and my show wasn't there. So I told him to go back out and come back in. So everyone bear with us. We're going to have Ronnie with us in a second and it's going to be a good interview. So he's a good guy, man. Just like I said, living the dream,
Well, he gets men frustrated. So it's, fair about fair play.
That's like my wife's job, right? She gets me frustrated all the time. I think I see him. He came in. We found my show, so we're gonna have him come in.
Okay, man. Have a great show, and LA Dodgers, LA Lakers champions.
Oh, just stop it! Stop it with that garbage. Take it out of my show. All right, Ronnie, I see you in there. There we go. We got you. Ooh, I like the picture already. All right, hey, Ronnie, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me? Okay.
Loud and clear, my man. Sorry you had a hard time getting in. I think what probably happened, this has happened before. If you come in like a minute or two early, the show's not there, and then it pops up when I go live. So that could have been what it is. But hey, we've had a good time already. We played a couple of Voodoo Moonshine songs and just been jamming out, having a good time. So welcome to the show, and we're really happy to have you here.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Sounds cool.
Nice. So if you could, man, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, as I was saying, we've been talking about you a little bit, all good things. And as I was saying earlier, now my high school guidance counselor screwed me. All right. He told me, go to college, get a reliable job, do the things you're supposed to be doing. He should have been telling me to start a magazine, be a manager for a rock band. And I did not get the proper guidance. So you are living the dream that I should have lived. And I see that clearly. So I just want to know a little bit more about you and how you got into, Flirt Magazine and managing Voodoo Moonshine. And they absolutely rock, by the way. I've played a couple of their songs. They're amazing. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. I want to learn more about you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of living the dream sometimes, not all the time. So let me clarify that. But, it's pretty cool. And the way I got started, I went to one of the best photography schools in the country, which is RISD.
I saw that.
Here in Rhode Island. And when I got out of that, I was a fashion photographer, believe it or not. And I did that for 10 years. And then one day, somebody in my hometown said, hey, can you come to the local bar room and take a picture of our band? I said, I really don't do that. But one thing led to another. I did it, and I found myself in the music industry.
Nice.
And that's been like 18 years later. And I've traveled with bands all around the country doing video and photographing. So one day I said, I don't want to work with these magazines anymore. How about I start my own magazine? And I took my background, which was fashion photography, working with beautiful women, and music. I said, can't we just combine these things? So I
Right.
kind of mashed it all together, and I came up with Flirt Magazine. That's how it
Unreal.
was born. So,
Now, how long
yeah,
ago did you
no,
start Flirt Magazine? Like, what year did you start get this magazine off the ground?
well, we started putting everything together like 2.5 years ago, but it really didn't. I mean, because we had a lot of stuff to do, a lot of people to talk to, and to get people on our team the way we wanted it and how we wanted to mold this magazine. So we're going on our 14th issue. So we're over a year now in full production, and it's going through the roof, believe it or not.
Well, now you guys
So,
are you guys are in print and digital, correct?
correct. Yep,
Nice.
we're trying to save that print industry because magazines just aren't what they used to be because we live in a digital world, of course. But
We do.
people still like the print. They still like it. So we offer it, and we're just going to keep pushing it. But I mean, we do great. I mean, people do like the digital. Everybody's on their phone. I mean, granted. So as long as we keep getting the subscribers and people like it, and they love the music aspect, and the beautiful women is probably not a bad thing either. So
Now, I think back fondly, and I know a lot of my friends that I grew up with in New Hampshire would remember this. When I was a young guy, I had the black suitcase, and I had this black suitcase, and I had friends from all over town that wanted to come over to see what I had in my black suitcase. It was loaded with, dirty magazines, Penthouse, Playboy, Hustler, whatever. And I was kind of infamous for having like that good stack of porn at a very young age. And to see print magazines still in effect, they kind of hold a special place in my heart. So it's cool to see that the magazine's doing well. And I'll tell you, I've looked through a few of the issues. You have some beautiful women. Now, how do you get the women that come in that are in the magazine? Do they have to audition? Do they send you information? Like, how do you decide on who's in the magazine and who isn't?
well, we get a lot of people submitting to the magazine, but since I've been in the business, I've worked with some of the greatest photographers in the world. We all get together and we try to choose. And if there's somebody that we really like, we'll get a photographer to the girl and we'll do pictures for her. And sometimes we get good submissions and people that want to be in the magazine. But yeah, there's a lot of beautiful women out there, that's for sure.
Oh,
And we
absolutely.
have them. We make sure we have them in Flirt Magazine. That's one thing we do. So yeah, it's a process, but it's a cool process.
Now, one of the questions I was thinking of earlier is, where were you when I was 22 years old and single? I'm now an old married man with 4 kids. And I mean, I would have loved to have partied with you and hung out with the CEO of Flirt Magazine, who also manages rock bands. You and I would have been best friends, man. I could have been hanging out with you, enjoying the beautiful women. But here I am now, the old married man with 4 kids. And I missed my opportunity, I think, to kind of live the dream. Now, I would imagine a lot of people out there look at what you're doing, and it seems like living the dream. But there must be a lot of work that goes into running this magazine and kind of getting it up and running like you have also.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of work and a lot goes into it because you have two different spectrums here. You're talking music and the whole beautiful women
Right.
aspect. So you got to make sure this blends correctly. And a lot of work goes into the bands because I love working with bands. So we put a lot into it. We make sure we get a lot of bands in each issue. And they're not just the big bands, but we do a lot of indie bands.
That's
So we try to
huge.
get them some recognition. So, and there's a lot of talent out there. There's a ton of talent, and music has changed. It's not the way it used to be anymore. It's not the '80s anymore. So
No, it's
these
not.
bands.
What
Go
I
ahead.
what I love is that you are giving some of these indie bands a chance, because it's been driving me crazy for the last, I don't know what, 10 years. I mean, rock has just not been in the forefront at all. And I've been educating my kids. Like, I've got, 4 kids. I got 3 teenage boys. I've taken them to AC/DC. We've seen Guns N' Roses. We've gone to a lot of good concerts. Def Leppard, back up in Lake Winnipesaukee a couple of years ago. We went to see them play up there. And I am definitely a rocker. And to see that your magazine is maybe looking to give some of these new indie bands a chance to kind of get their name, out there a little bit is huge, because right now rock is just not in the forefront of music at all. There's a lot of garbage out there, and I would love to see rock, come back. Do you think it's ever going to come back, or do you think it's one of those things where, rock is maybe behind us a little bit?
No, it's coming back. It's
Good.
coming back because there's a lot of young talent. Give it a little time, and you'll see some of the bands. I mean, there's a lot of good bands up and coming because these bands that are touring now, like some of the older ones, which are great bands like Kiss. I'm like the
Yep.
biggest Kiss fan. that's not going to last forever. We're,
No.
we're at the end of that. That's dropping off rather quickly. But we have a lot of good talent out there. I can see it. I can see the change because a lot of these younger guys are starting to mature a little bit, and their music is good. And there's a lot of them out there, and it's worldwide. I mean, I work with bands in England, all over the world, and there's some really great bands. It'll take a little while, but I think it'll come around. Yeah, I mean, history will repeat itself for sure.
Well, the thing I see and the thing I like is I go around all over the place. I mean, I see my daughter, she's 15 years old. She loves her Nirvana shirt. She loves rock. I see a lot of younger kids who are kind of getting into the rock scene again and kind of realizing how awesome, rock was back in the day. So I do see interest in that. And then, when I go to concerts, like I've gone to see Guns N' Roses recently, and I had tickets last summer at Fenway. And of course, COVID canceled that on me, unfortunately. But you see full stadiums, they're selling out. They're charging a lot of money. There's certainly money to be made in this business. But you're right. We need those next new bands because, AC/DC is not going to be around forever. Aerosmith, the Stones, I mean, they're old. We need younger quality bands that are getting that chance to maybe even open for some of these bands and get well known. So you said you've traveled quite a bit with bands. What are some of the bands you've traveled with, just out of curiosity, over the years?
Oh, geez, I've photographed so many bands on the road because I work with magazines all over the country.
Right.
So I have photographed all the big bands from Motley Crue to Kiss. I've done work with all of them actually.
Outstanding.
And, I love doing it, but then I had kids, so things changed a little bit. So I had to. Yeah, that whole travel. I had to cut back on the travel plans a little bit. Put it that way.
Oh, I had the same problem. I had 4 of them all close together, and there was no way I could travel anymore. So I kind of stopped traveling for my job, and it makes it difficult. But you do the family thing; it's all good and stuff like that. But now, I was a big fan of Motley Crue. Now, did you get a chance to hang out with those guys at all, or no?
No, actually, I don't even know if I should tell you this story.
Well, then definitely you should, if that's the way it starts.
The last time I photographed Motley Crue, I was at the Xfinity Center up in Mansfield.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little scuffle that took place between some of the photographers. And sure enough, me and Nikki Sixx were arguing during a song. It was so embarrassing. And I'm like, I've never had a problem photographing in my life.
Right.
But sure enough, here we are. We're yelling at each other on the stage. He threw water at the photographer next to me. And I said, wow, this is getting out of hand. So
holy shit.
We were asked to leave politely. And that's my one bad story in photography. And that's it. The rest are good. So
you get a lot of big personalities in rock. I mean, it's just the way it is. I still remember years ago, back in the day, I went to see at the old, Foxborough Stadium. I saw Guns N' Roses with Metallica. Unbelievable concert. Axl Rose, I think, was 2 hours late for the show, but I was 22 years old. I was drunk. I was hanging out with beautiful women. He could have been 10 hours late. I wouldn't have cared. I was having a blast. But I remember he came out for his last song or his last couple songs, and some guy, he started throwing roses out in the audience. And I guess a guy, I couldn't see it because I was far back, but a guy knocked a girl down to pick up a rose. He stops the song mid-song and just you know what, dude? You're a fucking asshole. He's like, I can't stand that type of stuff in my show. He's screaming at the guy, literally points at security, tells the guy, get this guy the F out of here, has him thrown out. I mean, the whole crowd just went nuts, but he just absolutely snapped on stage. And, you're at a rock concert. It was awesome. So we all loved it. So he started the song back up again. He's like, sorry guys, but I just can't handle that kind of stuff. And, I got to give him credit. We went to a show a couple years back at Foxborough when they put the tour together. I promised my kids, if Guns N' Roses ever gets back together, we're going to go. So we went, and he was right on time. Was his voice what it used to be? Probably not, but he jammed for 2.5 hours. I mean, they just really killed it, and they were great to see, back together again. Now, have you ever worked with AC/DC or any of those bands?
No, I haven't with AC/DC. I wish I have. A matter of fact, I'll tell you a quick story. It was last March, I believe it was March 26th, and I know a radio station, and I know a couple of people that work there, and they were covering Guns N' Roses at Olympico Stadium in Ecuador.
Wow.
And they were covering it for Flirt Magazine, and that was the show that got canceled, and I said, uh-oh, we're in trouble with this pandemic. And that was the first one in my magazine that got canceled, was Guns N' Roses. And they were going to cover the whole show.
That's
backstage,
incredible.
oh
Wow.
my God. Yep, and that was last March that happened. So, but
Wow.
what,
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see Rock's coming back. I've been hoping for a long time that it's going to make his comeback. And I guess if you could, for the people that are in here right now, because I think, with the podcast, a lot of times you do get like a younger generation of people that come into these. I'm older and I remember the 80s well, and I love the Rock. If you could give us some bands that people maybe need to, look at right now and to look out for, what bands would you recommend for people to kind of take a close look at now if they like rock?
oh, that's easy. I'll give you one. Voodoo Moonshine.
Oh, I played 2 songs already, man. They absolutely rock. They're a great band.
You can't go wrong with them. They're a great bunch of guys, professional, and they put on a hell of a stage show. I mean, we're booking them now. We're playing at a bunch of festivals this summer, and well, as things open up, I mean, we'll have more shows. We're kind of going like it's touch and go where you can play, and
Yeah.
because of the whole restrictions in certain states. So, but yeah, we're going to be out on the road, and they're going to be jamming. Absolutely. So that's one band. But another band, I'll
Where are they
tell you.
playing around New England? I'd like to come out and see a show. I'd like to see them. Where can I come see them play?
Well, I mean, we're gonna be down in Indiana. We open up for Saliva May 14th is our first show on the road, and that's in Bristol, Tennessee. It's a big festival, and then we hit Metal in the Mountains, which is in West Virginia, another big festival. Then we're at Summer Bash in Indiana. The list goes on. They're going to be everywhere. As far as New England, that will probably be the last place we come to because it's a little tougher up here. And I mean, we both live in New England. You know how restrictions are up here.
Who knows if we're ever going to see the restrictions lifted here? I think they want us with our masks on forever. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm not sure, though, but it seems that way sometimes.
So. We'll have to ask Mr. Baker about that in Massachusetts. I'm not sure, but
well, we talk about Mr. Baker quite a bit on this show. We've definitely all had some strong thoughts about him over the year, but it is what it is. But I did carry over my Guns tickets for this year, so I'm kind of hoping Guns N' Roses does happen at Fenway Park, and we'll see. But I'll tell you, I was pretty fortunate where I had bought a few years back. I had bought AC/DC tickets from Madison Square Garden, and when that concert happened, that's when they kind of booted Brian Johnson from the band. He had hearing problems or whatever, and Axl Rose filled in the last couple shows, so we had tickets for one of those shows, and we got to see Axl Rose perform with AC/DC. He kicked ass. He was really good. We enjoyed the show.
That's great. Oh yeah, I thought it was great. He was playing with them for sure. But I felt bad, like when you have that hearing problem, that's terrible. It's happened to me. Just photographing concerts. Oh boy, once that happens, not good. But he's back playing with them. I guess they fixed something.
Which is good. So, I mean, they are by far my favorite band of all time. I'm a huge AC/DC fan. So I was happy to see he came back. But what I did like about Axl Rose is when he was performing with them in that show we went to, he would get out, he would do his thing, and we kind of had seats off to the side, so we got kind of a good look at what he was looking at. And it was funny because he had the teleprompter TV screens all around the stage with the words of the songs on them, just in case something happened and he forgot the words. But he would get out, he would jam, he would do his thing. And, he's got kind of a big ego, and you got Angus, in that band as well. But when he was done singing, if there was like a guitar solo or whatever, he would actually back up next to the band and actually stand in the dark when Angus came out and did his thing. So he wasn't competing for the stage at all. And honestly sounded pretty solid, doing AC/DC songs. So that was, that was pretty cool. So if you could, let's go back and talk a little bit more about Flirt Magazine. So you said now you're a couple years into it. And now, is it a challenge to have a magazine like Flirt when you have people that have so much access to internet? I mean, there's so many things you can get on internet. Now you can get some things for free on internet. Does that make it hard for you to sell your product?
I think it's a challenge, but it's doing good. So, I mean, the challenge doesn't stop anything. And the thing about this is if you want good content on a lot of bands, especially rock and roll, I mean, it's the place to get it. And there's a lot of different stuff in there. So, yeah, and it's a classy magazine. I mean, you can get porn all over the internet, but can you get these beautiful women? You know what I mean? It's a little different. So it's kind of like, I always describe the magazine as Playboy meets Rolling Stone when they were both good. So, awesome. And we have different stuff. There's different articles, some, a little bit of racy stuff and some cool stuff, and yeah, I mean, I'm just going to keep it different. what it does is what it does. But we're going to keep it different. We're going to keep it classy. We're going to cater to the rock bands as much as we can, and see how it does. So far, it's doing good. You know, we're putting out a good product, and we'll continue to put out a good product.
Well, one of the things I think too with the print aspect of it, like if you look at, the kids today, those damn kids today. I mean, they like to have their vinyl record players. They like to go out and get the old records. I mean, they kind of getting the vintage stuff is kind of in right now with a lot of the young kids. So I mean, going back and having that print magazine, this might be the perfect time to come up with something like that, because I mean, there were so many that have been so successful. I mean, you had obviously Playboy with Hugh Hefner, who made billions with that magazine. And now I got to ask you, I think of Hugh Hefner, I think of the robe, I think of a pipe. Now, do you sit around the house in a robe with a pipe all the time, being the like Flirt Magazine's Hefner? No,
no, not even close. Well, not yet. I mean, don't put it by me. I'll try anything, but no, not yet. No, this is I got a big office with a lot of computer screens, and I'm in that office, it seems 24 hours a day to make this thing work. So it's a super business to make this work and put it together the way we want it to. And yeah, I'm not at that part yet. But who knows? Maybe someday.
You get there. Hey, remember your friends if you get to that point. Think of me at that point. Now I saw that you got girls coming in from all over the country, right? It's not just a New England thing. I saw a girl from California that had been in your magazine. You got girls coming in from all over.
All over the place, all over the world. Yeah, no, not very few from New England actually. They're from all over. Like the last girl we had one from Texas. We had a couple from Oklahoma, some from California. So it's all who we choose, of course.
Yeah.
But the first girl our first cover, our first edition, the girl was from Rhode Island. So
was she really?
We wanted to start off in the home state, so we found a beautiful girl in Rhode Island, and we put her on the cover.
Nice.
So now,
a lot of
now
pretty
we're
girls
all
in Rhode
over.
Island, man. I remember I was good friends with a girl that was Miss Rhode Island back when I was in college, and she ended up becoming like a newscaster and something else. A lot of beautiful girls, a lot of beautiful Italian girls in Rhode Island. And with my last name of DeVito, I can say that. I know we're in that culture today where you can't mention nationalities or anything anymore. But a lot of beautiful Italian ladies in the state of Rhode Island, and I've always been very impartial. Now, I think I told you I went to URI, so I'm a URI graduate. And played football at the University of Rhode Island back in the day. So I have a lot of good memories of the state of Rhode Island and, hanging out down at the Bonneview Inn down in Narragansett right on the water, and going to Newport and some of those other bars and things like that. And Rhode Island's a cool little state. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a small version of California in a way, with all the surfers and everything that you get in Rhode Island. Now, did you grow up in Rhode Island?
I grew up in Rhode Island. I certainly did. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I was on the radio.
Place.
Yeah, I was on the radio in Rhode Island in college with a guy that was from the town I think you live in. And I'm not sure if he stayed in the broadcasting business or not. I did not. So for me, doing this podcast has been kind of like a COVID creation, kind of, reliving the old dream, me going in another path back in the day. But yeah, he was a good guy, man. And he was very talented. So I don't know if he went into radio or television or whatever he did, but he was a cool guy to hang out with and a lot of fun. We partied a lot back in the day at URI. That was one hell of a party school,
It still is, I think.
Oh, I bet it is. Okay, I see there's a couple questions coming in. I might ask a few of these if you don't mind. Cummings is Culture is a good friend of ours. He has a very popular podcast as well. And he said, how many issues have you published so far?
We've had double covers. So we've had variant covers, but altogether we've published 15 issues.
Nice.
And I believe we're up to 20 different covers. So we do that too. We do a variant cover. If we want to do like a partial tattoo issue, we'll put a different person on the cover. We'll put out 2 covers at a time, it's almost the same magazine, the inside, but we like to get a variant cover to change things up a little bit. But we're looking at 15 issues right now. So we're cruising right along.
How many people do you have working for your magazine right now?
I'd say right now, as far as contributors and people that help me put this together, we're looking at 8 people right now.
Nice.
That work on that.
Now, do you guys make more money with the print or with the digital? I know in my business, it's not, we do print materials, we do digital materials in a different type of business altogether. And I know for us, digital we profit more because there's so little price going into actually developing the digital. But do you find that one is better than the other, or are you doing, good with both, I guess, different ways of delivering the magazine?
Oh, it's all about digital.
Yeah.
Digital outweighs it by far, but that doesn't mean there's still a lot of people that like to hold that magazine in their hand. There's collectors that call me and say they want to collect it. I don't even
Nice.
think they care about the magazine. They like collecting magazines. But digital, I mean, we live in a digital age. You see people in Massachusetts driving down that street with them phones in their hand while they're driving.
Yep.
It's all digital. So I mean, that's cool. I mean, as long as people still like to hold magazines, that's fine. You know what I mean? But digital outweighs it by far.
Hey, so if anybody here in the the live studio here, or anybody that listens to the show via download later, wants to order a subscription, pick up a copy, I mean, can you find them in local stores? Do you have to order online? What's the best way to order a subscription to your magazine?
The best way to go about it, where we have everything, is go to magcloud.com/Flirt Magazine. You can find everything there. You can get your digital, you can get your hard copies, and they're on other different platforms, but MagCloud is the best. And that's always up there. And it's always first of the month that it's on there. Some have different things that I have to do, and it has to go through a process because there is nudity in the magazine. So there's a little bit of a process, and so things you have to wait on. But MagCloud is the best place to go right now. magcloud.com/Flirt Magazine. And
all right, so
they're all there.
Now, of course, I had to do my research, when I knew you were coming on. So I had to look into your magazine and, of course, look into other magazines just to understand. Just to know I understood the market perfectly. So I did plenty of research. And it was funny. You mentioned about collectors. I was on eBay, and I did see that people sell your magazines, your print magazines, on eBay. So there must be collectors that are out there looking to, complete their collection or whatever else. So I think that's kind of cool that people are into doing that. Now, you mentioned the magazine is nude. Now, is it fully nude? Are there limitations? Because I know back in the day you had Playboy, Penthouse, Hustler, and they would kind of ramp up as Playboy was a little bit less visual, and then you'd move up to Penthouse, and then Hustler kind of did it all. So I'm kind of wondering where your magazine falls along with those.
We do have some full nudity in there. Very classy, but full nudity. Absolutely.
Nice.
There's no restrictions. Again, there's no pornography. We need to know people need to know the difference of that. But no, it's a beautiful magazine, and there are some full nudes in there. It varies from issue to issue how much is in there, but it's in there. Yeah, I mean, the body's a beautiful thing. We don't need to hide this stuff. That's for sure. So.
I agree. For whatever reason in this society, we've made the decision to be ashamed of our bodies. And, the female body is a beautiful thing, and you're right. I mean, I think showing women, if it's classy and if it's done right, I mean, it really, I think, enhances a woman as opposed to, saying that she has to, cover up and whatever else. Now, I imagine you have probably all different types of women. You have some women that come in that may be, high school degrees, some college degrees. I know I've seen some magazines. There was a woman that I used to like in one particular magazine. She's a doctor. So, I mean, I imagine all different types of women that come in. And do you try to pick different types of women, or do you have a certain type of woman that you prefer to have in your magazine?
No, I look at all things. I try to mix it up because some people say, well, you got a lot of blondes on the cover. But, I mean, we don't go by things like that. We go by, we talk to these models, and they're all very intelligent people, great people, and we choose. And we have a lot that come in. So, I mean, it's not easy when you have 50 beautiful women in front of you. I mean, how do you pick them, you know? So we just hope that we keep these issues going, and we'll get them in there, and we'll get them on the cover. And, yeah, I mean, there's no criteria. I mean, because there's so many beautiful women out there, and we just kind of pick and choose a little bit. That's all. But yeah, I mean, we have all different types. We've had some that are psychiatrists. We've had a doctor. We've had, you name it. It's all different. So,
nice.
And we look at them all.
Now, do you reach out to certain women if you see someone that you'd really like to have in the magazine? Do you reach out, or just let them kind of contact you to submit to be in the magazine?
Oh no, we got to reach out. I like
Yeah.
reaching out. Sure. Oh yeah, if I see somebody that's interesting with an interesting background, I'll ask her like on the internet. I was doing it today. I met this young lady and she was on the internet and I know she was into modeling and stuff. And I said, what do you think about being on the cover of Flirt Magazine? And she said, absolutely. I
Nice.
said, okay, that works.
You know
So
what? You know what's
yeah,
good too. This younger generation. I don't know how old you are, but this younger generation, they're a little bit more open. I think a little bit more confident and feeling comfortable about coming in and doing things like this. And personally, I think it's a great thing. And for you, like I was saying earlier before you came on, I said, man, this guy's got it made. He's got rock and roll. He's got beautiful women. Now, if he could just intertwine baseball into this for me, then it would literally be absolute perfection because I'm a huge baseball guy also. But beautiful women in rock do it enough for me to kind of get things going. But now I think I saw that when I was on LinkedIn earlier today. That's where you and I connected. And I saw your profile. I was looking at it just preparing for the show a little bit. And I scrolled down a little bit. It shows, I think, some of the people that have been working with your company. And I did see one beautiful blonde that said I think she was from Beverly Hills. And she had been, I think, one of the covers for your magazine. And oh my God, she was an absolute knockout. Just beautiful, beautiful woman.
I'm sure she was. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely
Yep.
beautiful. Sure. Oh, yeah.
Nice. So, hey, now, like I said, if please keep me in mind if Voodoo Moonshine comes around the area, and again, I'll buy tickets. I'd love to see them, play. I'd bring my boys if we can, get them in depending on the venue and check them out. Now, you mentioned them as being a great band. Are there any other good young bands that you can think of? I mean, Voodoo Moonshine. I'm going to play as I end this show. I'm going to play this song again, going out, so you guys can hear this rock band. They absolutely kick ass. And if you're a rock fan, check them out. And even if you're not a rock fan, check them out, because that's one thing I think we're missing in society today are a lot of, good young rock bands that people know about. So I was on iTunes, downloaded a bunch of their songs earlier today, and they're really good. So check them out if you get a chance. But yeah, can you think of any other bands that you might want to recommend to some of our rock fans out there?
Sure. I mean, one band that comes to mind that's really moving up in the rock and roll world is Dirty Honey. I mean,
Dirty
they're a
Honey.
great band. I mean, people should know them. I mean, they're really good. And I was just talking to another band the other day. The name of the band is Zenora with a Z, and they're young guys, and they got a great sound, a great rock sound, and they'll be around for a long time. I mean, they're really into it. They're into the rock and roll, and they're young talent. They're a great band, and there's so many. I mean, we could sit on your show for 4 hours talking about young bands. I mean, there's so many out there, some really great bands. But I mean, one that's really making some noise right now is Dirty Honey.
Dirty Honey. I'm going to look them up. I'm not familiar with Dirty Honey, but where are they from? Are they from, like, what part of the country are they from?
I'm not really sure where they're from. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
But they're worth a listen, that's for sure. You'll be hearing about them. Yeah,
Nice.
they're moving up there. Great band, absolutely.
Well, that's what I've been saying for a while, as we talked about earlier. At some point, things have to turn, and rock has to kind of get back in the forefront a little bit. I mean, there's room out there for rock bands, and you can't have bands, that have 80-year-old lead singers playing forever. And I was going to go see the Stones when they came out, but the prices were just so crazy. I chose not to go. I feel really lucky that you were talking about the place down in Mansfield. A couple of years ago, I went and saw Van Halen there for the first time. I had never seen Van Halen. And I was really fortunate that I got to see Eddie Van Halen play, before he passed away. And I mean, I've always been a Van Halen fan, but to see them in concert, to see how talented he was as a lead guitar player. I mean, he literally can make the guitar talk, and you can understand the words that the guitar is saying as he's up there playing. Of course, that could have been the weed I was on too. I'm not sure which it was. It could have been a little bit of both. I don't know. But yeah, it could have been. Those things have happened before, so I'm not sure. But well, listen, man, I got to tell you, I've enjoyed having you on. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the band or about your magazine? Anything that maybe we've kind of missed out? And also for the people in the chat, if you have any questions, man, lay them out. And Eric's been kind of watching. Eric, if you've seen any good questions that I've missed, feel free to ask them.
Well, a question I just brought up, for anyone interested in learning more about the Flirt Magazine or how to get in touch with Flirt Magazine, are y'all on Twitter, or Instagram or Facebook or any of those platforms by any chance, or an official website? And even our friend Jeremy in the chat, recommended a good model, if if he's ever interested in reaching out to her.
What was the name of the model, Eric? Do you have it?
Jamie Chapman.
Jamie Chapman, huh? I'll have to Google her now. Save her. So
Jamie
Jamie
Chapman.
Chapman. All right,
We're
good.
gonna start Googling that one.
But like your Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, like for anybody interested in getting in touch with Flirt Magazine.
Yeah, go. We're on everything. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We have 8 different pages on Facebook. Of course, we're on LinkedIn. Just pop in Flirt Magazine and you will find us. We're on
Nice.
Twitter. We're on all of them. So and we're pretty active every day. We have somebody working that social media. So you'll always be seeing new content that we put up. And
So you
even on
definitely
LinkedIn.
recommend friends giving y'all a follow and liking your content.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see Cummings put that in the chat. I don't know if you see that, Ronnie, but he said the Instagram of that girl is just Jamie P. Chapman. So it's someone for to reach out to, and maybe we'll see her gracing the cover of Flirt Magazine at some point. So, man, I'm very happy for you. It sounds like you're doing well. I love seeing people that have a dream, they go after it, they make it happen, and it seems like you're doing great. I mean, you've got a successful magazine; it's growing. Now, what would be your hope for like a 5-year plan? I mean, where do you see this magazine going forward?
I want it to do as good as it's doing now, and just to keep working with bands. I mean, that's my passion, is the music industry. It really is. And the bands do a great job of promoting and sharing this magazine. I couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, the bands are really great, and it's like I said, they come from worldwide, so they do a great job, and I love working with the bands. It's just a passion of mine, and working with beautiful women is probably not too bad either.
You are living the dream, man. I'm telling you, I'm envious. Hey, before I forget, I want to ask you also, we were talking bands earlier. So you mentioned you photographed a lot of bands. You mentioned Motley Crue. What are some of the other bands maybe people would know that you photographed? I mean, some of the bigger rock bands.
Oh boy,
A lot of them, huh?
All the big ones, from Ted Nugent, Jethro Tull, a lot of the 80s. I've got to work with a lot of great 80s bands that are still moving. The only band that I didn't work with, well, 2 of them that I wish I did, is AC/DC and Guns N' Roses. Those are the 2 that I really wanted to work with and, get some pictures of, but I just didn't get the chance. And of course, Led Zeppelin. I mean, that's one of my favorite bands of all time. So I don't think that's going to happen. So
no, it was, I'll tell you, one of the things, and this happened when I was in college. There are a lot of bands I wish I could have seen. I mean, obviously the Doors would have been one of them. That would have been amazing to see the Doors in concert. But I never saw Zeppelin, but I did get to see Plant and Page, and I saw that when I was in college. And they sing a couple of their original songs, and then they went right into Zeppelin after that. And it was definitely one of the coolest concerts I've ever been to. People were just kind of passing joints up and down the aisleways, and everybody was in there having a good time. And when they started playing Zeppelin, man, they just rocked it. It was unbelievable to see it. So, I mean, I guess, I can kind of say I saw Zeppelin. I really didn't. I saw half of the band. But when they went into the Zeppelin songs, I mean, you had the lead guitar player and the lead singer, which was pretty awesome, being able to see that. I think one of my regrets is I haven't seen the Stones. I really wanted to see them when they came around. But I mean, literally at Gillette Stadium, I think the nosebleeds up top were literally selling for like $500 a seat. And I couldn't justify spending that kind of money to go see them, and sitting, way the hell up there. I wouldn't even be able to see the stage up there. But
listen to it from the outside on your radio or something. Yeah, you can't justify that. That's for sure. I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
What was the first concert you ever saw?
It's funny you mention that. I downloaded the album today because I downloaded your songs from Voodoo Moonshine, and then thought of that and actually downloaded their album ZZ Top at the Worcester Centrum. So I grew up in New Hampshire and had a girl. I was in middle school. And a girl just called me out of the blue. We were friends, lived like a couple streets away, and asked me if I wanted to go to a concert. So the first concert I saw was ZZ Top and Sammy Hagar together. And Sammy Hagar, I was always a David Lee Roth Van Halen fan, not as much a Sammy Hagar Van Halen fan. But for me, seeing Sammy Hagar solo, I loved him by himself. I didn't like him as much with Van Halen for whatever reason. So that was just really a killer concert for me to see as a young kid. I mean, ZZ Top, I loved him back in the day. And, you know, when I was listening to some of the music again today, and it just reminded me how much I liked them. Have you ever seen them in concert at all?
I photographed them. Yep.
Did you?
Work with ZZ Top. As a matter of fact, I believe it was 3 issues ago. 3 issues back, I had them in my magazine. Yep. ZZ Top.
That is amazing. So what type of guys were they? I mean, obviously, do they still have the big beards and the whole thing going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're great. A great band. And Sammy Hagar, you were talking about him.
Yeah.
He's a great singer. And that was my band growing up, was Van Halen. And I loved David Lee Roth. But as I got older, I saw it was a show.
It was.
And Sammy Hagar is a great singer. So there's 2 different things there. But I loved Roth. I saw him every time here in Providence, Rhode Island. I saw every time they came. I never missed them. So great band.
Yeah, he was just a showman. I mean, that's what he was good at. But you're right. I think when you compare the two, I mean, Sammy Hagar was a better singer than David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth just put on, you know, a good show in that way. But I've learned, I think, to appreciate, you know, Van Halen with Sammy Hagar over the years, because they did have some great songs. But for whatever reason, I just remember being kind of angry when David Lee Roth was out of the band, and it took me a long time to kind of adjust, you know, to that whole
when
thing.
he left, I was like heartbroken. I said, "Oh no, this can't happen."
Right.
But it sure did. But,
well, that's how I was when Guns N' Roses broke up. Man, I was a huge Guns N' Roses fan. So when they broke up, and I mean, you know, as far as I was concerned, I mean, they said it. You know, you saw the name of their tour, the Not in This Lifetime tour. I mean, there was no chance they were getting back together. So that's when I promised my kids, because I've been playing Guns for years to them. And in the back of my mind, I thought, okay, there's no chance in hell they're going to get back together. But when they did, I was forced to buy those tickets. So I brought the whole family. All 6 of us went to see Guns, and they just jammed. They were awesome. It was good to see them back, you know?
Oh, that's great. You know what the first concert I saw?
What's that?
I was a little kid. My father goes, "Come on, we're going to the Civic Center. We're going to go see a concert." And I was a little kid going, "I'd rather stay home and watch cartoons." He goes, "No, we're going. We're going to see Merle Haggard."
Merle Haggard, nice. Now, are you a country fan?
No. I mean, there is some great country. Don't get me wrong. There is some stuff that I like, but no, I'm all rock and roll here.
Yeah,
so.
I'm the same way. I've tried. There are a couple of country bands that I don't hate, and I mean, for the people out there, we get people that come in from all over the country. And for the people out there in New England, for whatever reason, country is just not a big thing. It really isn't. I know in the rest of the country is big. It's probably the biggest, you know, type of music that people listen to. In the Northeast, it just never has been big. It's grown, I think, over the years, and it's bigger now than it's ever been. But it's really not like in other parts of the country where country music just rules. You know, up here, it's never really been that way. So I get what you're saying. I've tried, and for me, you know, it's okay, you know, but it's I've always been a rock guy, so I'm the same way as you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So listen, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I want to keep the show at about an hour. That's where we are now. So I'm going to play another song by Voodoo Moonshine on the way out. Hopefully all of you in the chat listen to this song on the way out. And if you have anything else you want to say before we wrap this bad boy up, let us know, man. If you want to promote the band again, promote the magazine, let us know. You know, the best way we can support you, and hopefully we can maybe get some more people coming your way.
Yeah, just Google that Flirt Magazine, and don't forget Voodoo Moonshine will be coming to a city near you. It's all rock and roll, man.
All right, guys, I'm going to end this bad boy. I thank you for coming on the show. It was a blast. Maybe we can get you to come back again sometime, and let's stay in contact, because I mean it when I say I'd like to come see them play. There goes my burp noise. Sorry. That wasn't soundboard. Go ahead, Eric.
If I may take a minute, John, we would definitely like to extend a thank you to the friends here on Podbean who joined us for this live, including Blair from The Real McCoy Show, Jeremy from Cummings' Culture and the Culture Cast Project, as well as Homeboy 88, Roastmaster Glenn.
Father Brian's a rocker.
Yeah, Father Brian from Planet ADHD, as well as Mel from Lyrical Laxatives, Gorgeous, Rome, Mr. A, and Chris from The Forgotten Tunes, and many other friends who were fortunate enough to join us. And we look forward to the next episode of the John DeVito Show coming up in about 15 minutes, where we will be joined by our friend Amanda.
Yeah, so we got that one coming up next. This kind of happened after I booked your show. We got another show we're going to be doing tonight. So hey, man, thank you for joining us. And
look forward to having Ronnie back again soon.
Flirt Magazine. Check it out. You can get it on digital. It's in all the social media. Make sure you get on and give them a follow. You can also buy print copies of the magazine. It's a combination of rock and roll music and beautiful women. You can't go wrong. I mean, that is what America's based on, and you can't go wrong with that. So make sure you check it out, and you can get Voodoo Moonshine on iTunes. I purchased some songs today. I definitely recommend it. If you're a rocker, check them out and grab some of those songs. So Ronnie, man, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having me. I love the show, and keep rocking, man. And I'll be in touch. Maybe I'll come up to Boston and visit you. I'll bring you some magazines. How's that sound?
Hey, that sounds good to me, man. Of course, I got to keep them away from my 3 teenage boys. I'm going to have to put them in a vault and hide them. But as a good father, though, I've done the fatherly duty. I've taught my teenage sons how to clear their browser history. So I'm a good dad in that way, right? So when mom finds their phones, they don't get in trouble anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah,
all right, guys, we're going to kick this out with Locked and Loaded by Voodoo Moonshine. So enjoy. Here we go.
Love you. God bless you. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys, listen to this kick-ass music. Don't leave. Listen to the song before you head out.
Get your walking on. It's time to go another round or two. I take slow, yeah. To here tonight to get this shit alive. So come on, please. Treat it down, so dive right in. Locked and loaded, yeah. For having been seen, don't want to rain on your parade. It's been a long time now, but you won't get out to bring a motherfucker to their knees, yeah. Ooh, I don't think you would let me get shadow of tomorrow. Well, you'll never be the thing to remember. I tried to tell you so.
All right, man. That was Voodoo Moonshine. Check them out on iTunes, and I will be back in about 15 minutes with my second show of the night. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Take care. Love you all now, and we will see you soon.